Hey folks, Steve here. How you doing? I am preparing to make the first of at least two, if not three, Polk Smart benches. Yeah, I think I said that right. From scratch. Now I do have a kit. I went ahead when I was out in Utah. Basically it's South Salt Lake City. There's an actual area it's called, where I was at Reparadise, which is a company that you can on reparadise.com, I think. You can just go ahead and check it out. That's where I got the lightweight plywood, which I will be building these benches out of. I brought 11 sheets back with me after buying plans from a Ron Polk's store for his Smart Bench, which is 3x6, just a standard workbench, and his Smart Station, which I think was originally called the Total Station. But it's where you have integrated your miter box. You can then hang off all your other tools from cradles, which would be like the table saw, any routers that you have to create like a router table, not like a router table, to create a router table. And also you can hang other tools off cradles as well. And then some accessories like I want to build the carts. So the Smart Cart, I'm not quite sure if I'll do, he has a version 2 of it where you have a different lifter system. So the casters are completely different than the original that he created about 4 years ago. So I'm not quite sure exactly where I'm at on those. I don't know. I'm assuming I still have enough plywood, whether I want to build 2 of his original carts or if I want to build 2 of his newer carts. Either way, I don't have hardware for any of those, so I still have options as long as I have plywood. And I can't imagine one takes any more plywood than the other, being what they are. But that being said, I want to make sure that, like, as far as tool-wise, I am ready to go. I've been watching his videos again as far as anything associated with the Smart Bench, you know, as far as how-tos or tips or this or that or changes that reflected in the plans, whatever it was. One thing I wanted to check was the fact that there's a lot of router work, because you can make a pattern, and then from the pattern, then you can make the parts. And the parts then come together, make the bench, and then after that, it's the dog holes, and that's a different system. So I wanted to check, because one of my first things to do would be then to go out and buy a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood, of just regular plywood, because I did not bring any of the Ultralight 1/2-inch back with me. I didn't see anything in the plans where I needed it. The 1/2-inch of like regular AC plywood would be used then to create all of the templates that you need. Right now what I see is I have quite a bit of 3/4 fall off, like AC fall off. I even have a piece of birch fall off. And I could build all but one template out of all of that, but I would need a 1/2-inch, or 3/4 of that matter, to create a pattern for the sawhorses. But at this point, what I'm thinking is I probably should go get a 1/2-inch, even though I have all that 3/4. Since I need it anyway for the sawhorse template, I may as well make all of my templates out of it. And you can do everything in one sheet. And you start with like a pattern to make a pattern. So he calls it the pattern. I thought that was cool. And that's where it starts, because that allows you to make a couple of other things that are patterns for the actual pieces. And then the actual patterns you just keep. I don't know about the pattern. I think once you use that and make the others, you don't need the pattern any longer. I guess you could save it in case something else gets damaged and you want to make another pattern, and so you engage the pattern again. Could be confusing. So that's where I would start. And after that, once the patterns are made, then you start just fabricating pieces. And there are not that many pieces. You have some spreaders, you have the 2 end spreaders, 2 middle spreaders, you have the end or the sides, the 2 long sides, then you have a bottom, you have a top, so there's the bench. Then you have 2 sawhorses, 4 pieces really, because it's each side of the sawhorse. So you have 4 horse pieces to make a sawhorse, set of sawhorses. And then you have the spreader shelf, which will index the sawhorses exactly how far apart they need to be in order for the bench to nest down on them, and then the hinge holes to index on the hinge barrels that are proud of the sawhorses. And that's how the thing indexes together to keep everything from shifting and to keep your bench on your horses. The Smart Cart, or the Smart Cart version 2, is a completely different animal, and I will figure that out after the bench is made. I'm going to use the Smart Bench as my kind of let's get back into it kind of a thing, because I don't want to dive in as much as I really want the Total Station. I don't want to dive into that first. I'd like to build up that momentum of, oh yeah, I remember how I built the first bench. Now I've got a second bench, and I've ironed out any of the bugs of how I'm thinking about it, how it goes together, or how I'm using the tools and how maybe not to use tools. So I want to just kind of iron it out with a simple bench before I jump into the other bench. Other bench is not much more complicated, with the exception of course, the area where the miter box integrates into the bench itself. That is a little bit, there's a little bit more there, of course. And I have not built a Total Station yet. I have not built a Smart Station. So for me, that will be brand new, trying to figure all of that out. I imagine it's not all that hard. I've built a bench before. It wasn't hard then. I don't expect it to be hard now, but I want to get that momentum back into it, kind of get in that Polk state of mind, if you will, that I was back in 2019, 2020. 2019 for this beast, 2020, I believe, for the bench itself. As I come out here, what I'm doing is I'm checking to see, okay, I've got two routers out here. I have my cordless and I have a corded router. I have another corded router identical to this, same model and everything inside. This one has the plunge base, that one has a fixed base. I do have a plunge base for this one. Here is, and I'm going to spin you around. So here is that bushing I was telling you about. That's a pattern bushing. And I have a whole set of them, one from Porter Cable, one from somewhere else, like MGX Tools or something. And I was worried about the height of the collar here, as far as, is a 1/2 inch going to allow me to do what I need to do, or is this taller than a 1/2 inch? And this bushing and the bushing that I have on the other corded router inside, which I'll have all three out, both of those are the smaller size, so 1/2 inch is going to work just fine. I do have, for rounding over, I actually have this round over bit that almost practically lives in my cordless router here. I have noticed that a lot of contractors, including Ron, are going to using chamfer bits a lot more than the round over bit in the videos that I am watching that seem to be much more current. I do understand that with chamfer, I understand what the difference is, but with the chamfer bits, it's really more for the dog holes and the devices, the dogs that he recommends for doing a lot of different things with his bench, specific to the parts that you can make for his bench, which are kind of dedicated to that kind of system. And so a chamfer bit will work better than a round over bit for that. So I'm getting a chamfer bit because I looked at my bits and I don't have like a big set of bits. I just have kind of selective bits that I've needed along the way. And so I've just bought what I've needed one at a time. Well, with that being said, I am going to go ahead and get a set of chamfer bits in various angles, like a 30, a 45, and something else, maybe a 15 degree. The 45 is all I need, but why not have a selection for whatever future uses I could possibly have for a chamfer bit set. And then that will mount into my cordless router to allow me to do all the chamfering of all the parts on the insides and all the dog holes once they are created. And I've got some ideas on those dog holes. I do not have a PARF Guide Mark II, I think that's what it's called, PARF Guide Mark II, where it allows you to lay out all of the dog holes and have exactly what you need, 96 millimeters on center, which is the industry standard since World War II for cabinet making, if I said that right, and that allows you to lay them out exactly. So I'm toying with what I'm going to do as far as how do I want to get these dog holes onto the bench top. Do I send my top out for CNC work and just have them make the top for me and get it back to me? I have no idea what that costs. Is it $100 to have that done? Is it $300 to have that done? Is it $1,000 to have it done? I have no idea. So I'm going to look into that to see if I can just have somebody, once we create the file, just, make me 3 tops. We'll see on that. Or can I have them make me a template, CNC perfect, and then I can use the template to drill everything that I have. That's another possibility. Or I just buy the darn PARF Guide Mark II, PARF System Mark II, and I just lay the thing out. And I can do that. So we'll see. But it starts with checking the tools. I've got everything I need. Oh, and I forgot, it was sitting right here. In my other router, I have a 2-flute bit. It's a 1/4 inch 2-flute bit. I'm going to swap it out with this upcut spiral. I know they do different. I know this removes material as you're cutting, as opposed to the 2-flute is also a cutter, but it's not necessarily material removing. So I want to swap out to this. It's still a 1/4 inch, and that's what I need for a lot of the routing. And I have a 1/2 inch spiral upcut bit in this one. This one, of course, will get the chamfer bit. That being said, one router bit to another at this point with the amount of routing that I have done is not really like, in my index of, well, I need this because, and I can fill in the blank for a lot of reasons. I can only give you 1 or 2 reasons why this is the bit of choice. This is the bit of choice because I see Ron Polk using it a lot. I see some others using it a lot, and they're saying, yeah, upcut spiral, da-da-da-da-da. And I even see Norm Abram using it on New Yankee Workshop. Upcut spiral. I was like, well, all right, or downcut spiral. So I'm thinking, well, I'm going to swap out to that bit. 1/2 inch upcut spiral, just because, and we'll get a chamfer bit in that thing. So I know that a 1/2 inch material is going to work, my bushings will work, I have the bits that I need, I have other bits in my cart, and I have a chamfer on the way. Zippity-doo-dah for me, down to the hardware store. I'm going to go ahead and pick up a sheet of 1/2 inch ply. Tomorrow morning, I make the pattern, and then from the pattern, I then start to make the patterns, and then from there, I then start to make the actual pieces. Yay! And I'll take you along for the ride. But that's it for today, and that's what I'm doing. And this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday, because today's Thursday, tomorrow and Saturday are devoted to parts, with the exception of drilling all the holes for all the dog holes on the top. It's dedicated to parts making. And I'll see how far I can get, and I'll take you along for the ride because I'm excited to use this lightweight plywood and get a bench that weighs less than 100 pounds, just the bench. Hey folks, take care. I hope you have a great day because you deserve it. If you would like and subscribe, helps the channel, free to you. Thank you very much for that. And I hope to see you on the next video, and if you ring the bell, you'll get notified and you can make a decision, yay or nay. But it's going to be yay, because why not?